Welcome to the Dave Cave. I'm Dave, and today we're going to be talking the movie that brings Jamie Lee Curtis back into the Halloween franchise after almost 2 decades of absence. So, of course, we are talking Halloween H20. H20 is directed by Steve Miner, stars Jamie Lee Curtis, as I said, brings in Adam Arkin, and introduces, Halloween franchise introduces a lot of people, introduces Josh Hartnett. And the movie erases 3, 4, 5, 6, they're all gone. But that's if you want to follow this timeline. This is where the divergence of timelines start to happen. You have, the Thorn trilogy, and then you have 1, 2, this and Resurrection, then, 2018. There's all kinds of craziness, and this is really what starts that. But in this one, this takes place 20 years after the events of 1978, well, in 81, even though they were the same night, and Laurie Strode has faked her death. She now lives in California under the name of Carrie Tate with her son, John, but she has far from moved on. She lives every day in fear that Michael Myers is going to find her. She is terrified. But after 20 years of her being not so unsure, she's proven right, and everybody else finds out her dirty little secret. Now, Halloween H20 was the first movie of the franchise that I actually saw in theaters. And because of that, one, I acknowledge that I have a lot of nostalgia, but I really have a lot of fun with this movie. So let's get right into the good. The first thing I want to talk about that I like with this movie, and I really don't want to sound like a broken record, but of the franchise, this might be my first favorite 15 minutes. I love the way this movie starts. You get the whole build-up. He kills the nurse from the first and the second one and gets Laurie's file and goes off after her. You get 3 kills right at the beginning, and then you get that intro where the music hits, haha, yeah, right, door closes, the music hits. I love that version of the Halloween theme, the orchestral version of it, not in terms of like building real tension, but I like it. It's good to my ear. It hits it well. And so you have that overlaying, and you have the voice actor who tries to imitate Donald Pleasence, does a decent enough job. He does the whole, all of the iconic speeches that Loomis has done, does those as we are seeing all these newspaper clippings of, oh, okay, it brings us back into the series. And what it does a little bit, just a little bit, is gives us the idea that, oh, that's what happened. That's how Jamie Lee Curtis is in this, and Michael hasn't been going after her. She faked her death. Cool. And then that segues into this dream sequence where you find out that Laurie is in no way, shape, or form over what happened in 78. She is very damaged, and she has these nightmares. And what that scene introduces us to is Laurie's PTSD that she's going to deal with for the rest of the movie. Makes for a lot of cool moments that we get for the rest of the film. But what it also gives us, and it's my second thing that I want to talk about that I like in this film, is the relationship between John and Laurie. One, Josh Hartnett and Jamie Lee Curtis as a mother-son duo, they have great chemistry. Josh Hartnett very much holds his own in all the scenes that he has with this awesome, iconic character actor, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode. He handles that perfectly well. And what you get is this kid who is completely done with his mom's bullshit. To him, that's all it is. All it's been ever is stories. And he's just been dealing with it, and it's been dragging him down, and he just can't fucking take it anymore. But when he finally meets his uncle, he knows exactly who he is because Laurie has been warning him all these years that this is this fucking guy, and he tried to kill me, and you have to understand me, you have to believe me. And John's like, leave me alone. I dig that whole relationship. I think it plays out perfectly well, and also when it culminates in the scene where Laurie sends John and Molly off, and you get that emotion because he's like, oh my God, like, this is it. This is real. Like, obviously he's been stabbed and he's been fighting for his life for the last half an hour, but it's real now. And Laurie sends him off, and just the emotion in that scene where he's crying, she's crying. I feel that scene every single time. I love the chemistry between these two. Now, before I get to the last thing that I like about this movie, it's actually something I love about this movie. But before we get to that, I don't actually have many things bad to say about this movie. As I said before, I enjoy my time with it every single time that I watch it. Now, that said, we're going to get into the last thing that I want to talk about that I love about Halloween H20, and that is the fucking finale. From the moment Laurie sends John and Molly off, from the moment she sends them off, she smashes the whole console, grabs the axe, walks up, just out to nobody. Well, out to Michael, but out to nobody. Music's building, and she yells, every time that I've watched this movie, and it is a shit ton that I've watched this movie, it gives me chills. The way that scene, just that scene, plays out. She's walking up, the music hits after she yells Michael. I love it. And I've said it a million times at this point. I love when people go after the slashers in these films. I love that. And this was the first real time in all of the Halloween franchise that someone legitimately went on the offensive after Michael. People have planned for Michael. People have fought Michael. People have handled Michael. Sure. Laurie grabs a fucking axe and goes after him. And what you have after that is just a whole bunch of fighting, which I know there are a lot of problems in those scenes. But even despite those, I love the whole way that plays out, that she is cat and mousing him. She's still on the offensive. Even when she's on the defensive, she's constantly working Michael, and then she stabs the shit out of him, falls out of a window, falls on the table, boom. You think it's done, and everybody's all happy, ha ha ha. She puts him in a van and has to confirm the kill, because she knows if she doesn't kill him, definitively kill him and see him fucking die, she's not going to be at peace, because she thought she watched him die. John brings it up. Didn't you see him burn? Well, I didn't exactly stay to see the ashes. She stays to see the ashes. And you have this whole car scene, and then Michael gets pinned to a car. I know I'm narrating this, but I fucking love this scene. So Michael gets pinned to a car, and you have this interesting moment, because Laurie Strode walks up to Michael, and she's just all full of emotion. Because this is 20 years building, being terrified, all that just against this guy. But then you have this moment where Michael reaches out to her, and you feel like, okay, why is she giving him the time of day? Well, it's her brother, so she's dealing with that. But then she sees the little head tilt, and she fucking chops his head off. I remember seeing that in theaters, and it was the first time that I had ever heard people that loudly fucking cheer. People went ape shit when Laurie Strode cut Michael Myers' head off. Now, I understand that Resurrection fucks this pooch. Fucks it hard, and it makes me angry that they ruined this. Because this, in all of the big three, for me, that is the most satisfying ending to a movie of all of them. And it's not even close. Because you have this kill. It is a definitive kill. There's no walking back from that for Michael Myers. His head got fucking chopped off. I know they fixed it in Resurrection. It's not a fix. But that is a kill. That is a kill. If that happened to Jason, that is a kill. That is done. And it happens to Jason. Jason goes to hell. He gets blown to shit. He's dead. They figure out their little ways around it too. But to have Michael's head chopped off, that's where this storyline should have ended. Right then and there. Reboot it, do something else, but this should have been the end of the story. 1, 2, H20. End of story, roll credits. We're done. And one of my favorite touches about that scene is after Laurie chops his head off, she's got the heavy breathing, and if you listen, through the whole movie there's been this orchestral Halloween theme, like I said. But when she chops his head off, it's the original 1978 version of the Halloween theme. It brings it full circle, and it's just... I love the scene so much. Okay, now that I've gushed about this movie, we are going to talk about the one thing, it's probably going to be on a lot of people's lists of what they don't like about Halloween H20, so let's get into it with the bad. Now, the only real thing that I don't like about this movie is the changing masks. The fact that all those choices were made to have those changing masks, sometimes even in the same scene, is horrible. Yes, it messes up any kind of flow the movie has because it confuses you. When you have these different masks, and a fair bit of it, it's the one mask. I understand that. But when you have this one, the CG mask, which you delay shooting until you get the mask or something, you don't do what the hell that was. And then you have the screen flat, slick back hair mask that looks like shit. Had they gone with that for the whole movie, Michael wouldn't have worked at all. But when you have that one mask, it works out okay. But because they didn't stick with that, it takes away from every time that it's not that one mask. When it's not the hero mask of the movie, and like I said, you have the CG mask, and then you have the slick back mask, it doesn't work. And it brings down any kind of that you have about Michael, because that's the first thing you notice. Like, he looks different. Why does he have a different mask? Oh, that's right. Now, okay. Now he's murdering people. Let's get back to the story. It's distracting. Every time it's not the same, it's distracting. It takes away from the movie. But if that's the only problem that you have with the movie, that I have with the movie, it does a pretty damn good job in my book. And now it is time to talk about the aspect of Halloween H20 that, for me, actually surprisingly takes a back seat. And that is the blood, the guts, the skates to the face, the ugly. Now, Halloween H20 isn't one of the entries in the series that's known for its kills. Really, the only kill that it's known for is the fact that it killed Michael Myers, at least at the time. But the rest of the kills that Michael performs, they're pretty run-of-the-mill when it comes to him. There's throat slashes, there's stabbings. Sure, you get a corkscrew across the throat. You get a callback to the Halloween 2 kill where he lifts Will up with a knife and it comes out his chest. Cool kills, but they're there. Not that they're tacked on. I don't feel like they're tacked on. They feel right in the progression of the movie, but they're okay. They're there. They feel like they need to be there as a staple for a Halloween late 90s slasher flick, but they're okay. But what always remains interesting to me in this movie is that there are two notable times where Michael could have killed somebody and didn't. And every time I try to think why. Why didn't Michael kill Ronnie? Why didn't he kill the woman and the kid? I understand that Michael didn't kill kids until 2018, but why didn't he? Why didn't he kill the woman? Why didn't he kill Ronnie? They would have been easy. They were kind of in his way. He's done way worse for far less in the rest of the franchise. And it hit me this time watching it. Because Michael's not on a warpath in this movie. Sure, he kills Jimmy, and he kills Jimmy's friend, and he kills Marion Whittenden. He kills them on his way to getting this file on Laurie. And then once he has the file for Laurie, it's just getting to her. That's all that matters. He doesn't have time for other bullshit. He's not on a warpath. He's on a mission. So he goes and he tries to get to where he needs to be. Once he gets to where he needs to be, once he is inside, and he starts seeing other teenagers being around, that's when he starts having fun. He's there. He knows that Laurie is there, and he's going to get her. He knows he's going to get her. It's just a matter of time, because that's just what Michael fucking does. So once he's there, that's when he starts to play. But you have these other two people that are kind of in his way, but aren't really in his way. They're more tools to getting him to where he wants to be. That he lets him go. And now that I've made that realization, him leaving them to live, much cooler moments. But because he did kill people, a fair amount of people, I'm going to give out my award for favorite kill of Halloween H20 to Sarah. Sarah has set off looking for her boyfriend Charlie, who he himself went looking for a corkscrew. She finds him, his throat's all slit open, and then she meets Michael Myers. And what you get is a typical, but not typical, Michael Myers cat and mouse game where he just chases her down. He's very slow, he's very methodical, he knows he's going to get her, and drops this whole cart on her leg. I don't know what the name of that is at this moment, but he drops that on her leg, and that really in and of itself incapacitates her after he's already stabbed her in the leg. Stab in the leg it sucked, but that was okay. Stabs her in the leg, her other leg gets messed up, and then you have this helpless moment where she can't get away. She's just laying on the floor, trying to back up where's she gonna go? Nowhere.
Where you going? Nowhere.
So Michael walks up and he puts his foot on the back of her head and he stabs the shit out of her. You couple that with another Halloween 2 callback where when she's found by John and Molly, she's hanging by the light. It's an awesome overall kill. It feels very Michael Myers, but also a Michael that is letting out a little bit of extra rage before he gets to Laurie, and he's just having fun at this point. Now it is time for my final thoughts on Halloween H20 20 years later. First, I want to talk about Michael again for a second, because I know I shit on the masks, because when it does change, it is shit. But when you get the main mask, the hero mask as I called it, it looks good when you can't see Michael's eyes. And I know that doesn't happen a lot in this movie, but when you have him fighting Marion, when he's dropping down from the ceiling and Laurie axes him, and when they're in the bathroom scene, you have these moments where if they could have shot it better to not show Michael's eyes in that mask, he would have looked a lot better. And he does. He looks good in that, because you have this kind of fake anger, but at the same time, when you see it straight on, it's just a normal mask. I like when you have a Michael Myers mask that you can put emotions on, but sometimes you feel like, oh no, that looks angry. Okay, that looks like it's nothing. That makes for a good mask, and oftentimes for me, this mask works. And as for the fake jump scares that we get in this movie where nothing actually really happens, I like them, but really only when they pertain to Laurie, because they seem fake. They seem cheap, because you just get these moments of jump. But what I like about them in this movie is the fact that you have Laurie so on edge on Halloween. It just feeds into this whole she isn't right, she is constantly in fear aspect of it, where she's jumpy as shit. Even Will, her boyfriend, comments on it. He's like, hey, I thought you saw me. Hey, you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, you're really on edge today. And for me, it does nothing but lend to the extra of what's going on inside Laurie Strode's head. Now, as I said, I really do enjoy this movie. This is one of my favorites. I know it's a little spoiler for my ranking that's coming, but I really like Halloween H20. I've been waiting, actually, to watch this in the whole rewatching of the series that I've been doing. I like this one a lot. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't get silly when it has, levity. The levity works. You have Janet Leigh in there, which, fuck, you can't hate that. There's all the Psycho references. You have the car. Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom gets the whole, it's Halloween, everybody's entitled to one good scare line. I know it's a little bit cheesy, but it's awesome. Unfortunately, this isn't the end of this Halloween timeline. That ends with Halloween Resurrection. My review for that will be out on Tuesday, so be on the lookout. And if you haven't already, go check out the rest of my reviews for Halloween. I also did reviews for Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Links to all that will be in the description below. And while you're down there, I have links to my Instagram and Twitter. They're both at @TheDaveCave_. I post over there when I am not posting here. That is going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed the review, please don't forget to drop a like. And thank you so much, as always, for stopping by the Dave Cave. I will see you for Halloween Resurrection. But until then, take care.